Good morning. Good Saturday morning, I should say. Sacred Spiritual Healer with your general reading regarding your journey for today. Anyone that wants a private reading, you can email me, sacredspiritualhealer@gmail.com. The information is in the link below. Okay. And for the masculine card, energy for the masculine. So the overall energy for the day is, for the feminines, is fighter. And for the masculines, I have two. So there's like two groups of masculines. One has the hawk, beautiful, and one has the crow, both air signs. And spider is, of course, the earth sign. So with the spider, this is their the divine feminine's aura is shining bright. She's stepped in her power. She's shining brightly, having faith and believing not only in herself but in her path, her journey, listening to her higher self and her spirit guides. She trusts the divine. She's trusting in herself. Remember, the spider always reminds me of the faith and the trust that a spider has to have when they spin their web. They start at one side of a room, right, and spin their web to the other side, hoping that that web, each time they make a circle from corner to corner, that tiny string that they're spinning from is going to hold their weight. And for some of the spiders, are quite large, but the size of their web is, or the thickness of the string, is no larger. So having the faith and spirit in the universe that their design is perfect. It may sometimes be imperfectly perfect, such as her energy today. She's getting things done, trusting that it's going to be imperfectly perfect when she's done. Nice. Okay, so the hawk for the masculine, who's air, he's been in his emotions, flying with precise vision, eye on the target, narrowing in towards, target-like energy, razor sharp vision for what they're going after. And this is a lot like it, so that's funny. But like the hawk sees what this guy over here has. Sorry. Let me move these. So right now, I'm almost, when I said the razor sharp vision, this hawk sees exactly what he wants, and it's this over here, but somebody else is hanging on to it. And so perhaps he's figuring out how he's going to get what someone else took from him, or that special person that is just out of reach. But he's flying to the light. He knows his divine feminine shines the light, guides him to her. The solar plexus chakra is vibrantly open, having the courage and strength to move forward, to take the chance and dive in for what he has his eye on. The red is the passion and also grounded energy for the base chakra. Also being strong enough to fly against it's almost like the fish swimming against the current energy in this card, like the hawks flying against the wind, but persevering, pushing through to get what he's got his eye on. Alright? The crow here, he's already made that flight and is not not taking his eye or hands off that prize that he has, that special gift that Spirit has given them, nurturing it in their nest, giving it the emotional connection that it needs, equal balance between the nurturing and caring for it, also being guided by the divine light shining down on them. They're also almost resting, knowing that it's going to be there. So they're confident that it'll be there while they close their eyes or nap type thing. While they rest in their nest, I guess. Anything else on those? Alright, let's get Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine energy for the Spirit. Out in the Spirit guides. Give us true and precise messages for the day. Divine Feminines and Divine Masculines, please. True and precise messages for the Divine Feminine, please. True and precise messages for the Feminine. Are these supposed to be? True and precise messages for the masculine. And for the masculine, please. So the Divine Feminines, top row, Divine Masculines, the bottom row. Starting off with 3 of Pentacles, the Divine Feminines are putting the work in, trying to build up her Pentacles, putting the work into her connection, her inner healing, listening to her intuition and her spirit guides. Learning more about the journey, making sure it's balanced, nurturing self, and knowing that her counterpart is working on the same. They're both putting in equal effort, but perhaps separately, not quite together. Perhaps they're not in communication right now. But she is protecting the flame. She's protecting her connection while she goes within, heals herself, works on herself, her pentacles, but she is keeping her sword's hand readily available to defend against the karmic or any negative energies regarding keeping the flame protected. Keeping it on solid ground as well, I heard. The Emperor mode. She is in her Emperor mode, or the Empress energy. So she has passion for this connection. Standing firm on her decision. She's recently set down boundaries, and while the masculine may see this as being stubborn, she's just holding her firmness of her boundaries she had to set. Because of the belief in this connection, the belief in the journey and herself, she's nurturing herself. Her heart chakra is open, and she's giving herself the unconditional love of self. Again, she's working on her pentacles, bringing in the harvest that she has, or working towards bringing in the harvest in which all the seeds she has planted recently, things that are coming up to fruition. She trusts they will be there because she's using her third eye, her intuition as well, that it will soon be time to bring in the harvest that she has worked for. They are mirroring one another, both putting work in on their the seeds that they have planted regarding this, both going within themselves separately to do the work, nurturing their inner child as well, being loyal not only to themselves but to the connection. And this is an ending, so the Ten of Pentacles, an ending of struggle, an ending of separation is soon here. And with the Death card in reverse, this is someone that recently has had, or this group of feminines has recently had the rebirth of their soul. They've transformed, the recent ending of a cycle, and now on a new cycle they've removed the masks, and during this transformation they've had a rebirth of their soul, and it is now a new beginning, ready to come up out of such an emotional state and be able to move forward with their heart and emotional intelligence, but think with the heart, getting control of the situation so that they can move forward with filling their own cup. All right. Knight of Wands. She's headed towards her emotional intelligence, because these two are facing each other. This is her divine masculine. She knows he's going to be coming in. She senses the energy, intuition, the telepathic energy, right, communication. She's sensing that he's going to be coming forward in for communication, and he's going to try and take control of the situation regarding this communication. Perhaps he's not going to be in truth. The shield is down, but she did set her boundaries, so whether she accepts this or not, and perhaps because both shields are down on their faces, they're both a little guarded over this connection of things that have gone regarding the emotions in this rebirth. During the rebirth and transformation, one sees all the errors of their ways, sees all the truths behind lies and everything that's gone on, which causes that turmoil of emotions, but then you do gain that emotional intelligence upon your rebirth. So because they're just coming out of this energy, perhaps that's why their masks are down. However, she knows he's coming in with communication soon. Anything else with that spirit? He's a lot of fire in this card. The Knight of Wands. It's also known as the Player. So truths have come out, which she probably already knew from her intuition. In her High Priestess mode, she would have already known that he was the Knight of Wands energy or not. Over here on the masculines, we have the Queen of Wands, so he's coming up, and the genders don't matter. This still could be the masculines. In his Power of Wand energy, he's going to come to her as a little less, maybe because a little less confident that she's not going to, you know, hear him out or something. But he does feel as though he's like king or queen energy, listening to the telepathic communication, holding on to this connection, knows that he's things have been said or done between the two parties with, you know, in reference to this connection. But very seriously has taken a look at all the things that have transpired. The Two of Wands, he's the divine masculines, the Two of Wands, still feels tied down to either a work situation or a karmic situation, something that's keeping him tied from moving forward or how he feels. This could also be the self-imposed. He easily could take and unconnect this rope off his ankle, right? But he's focused on the divine feminine. He's focused on this connection. Can't get her off his mind. Even while he's at work, I see he knows she's the yin to his yang, the energy that's so magnetic and drawn to her. This is like he's staring at her like the keen eye, like the hawk to this earth over here. Again, here he's totally focused. Again, thinking day and night, everything he's thinking about, he's listening to see, like, is she, you know, is that telepathic communication? He's hearing songs repeated as synchronicities, seeing the synchronicity of numbers. Perhaps he's just now putting all those things together as what they mean. Has been working on his strength and his courage to be able to come forward and have the strength and confidence to come forward to her to correct the actions that have been taken place. Perhaps recently the divine feminine pulled back and set up her boundaries regarding a karmic situation, which caused the defense. And yeah, we have it right here where he knows she set boundaries and the boundaries had to be set. The spirit guides are around them to protect them during this time, going within, healing self, still keeping the flame close at hand. And he this is how he's seeing her, because he knows she set her boundaries and that she is going within and healing herself, because you feel you're mirroring one another's energy, that so that he knows, and he's going within and healing himself because of that mirroring. But the Ace of Pentacles, new beginning, new growth, watching the things that were planted come to fruition regarding this connection, and listening to their intuition and wanting that new beginning, wanting to bring her up out of the cold and away from the karmic situation as well, no longer locking her out of his life. Five of Pentacles. This is positive communication. Again, new beginnings with Ace of Wands. Divine communication is coming in. Maybe that enlightenment, a certain dream or something that all of a sudden the light bulb moment came on, and for them to realize that he has to come forward with this communication and he can't keep waiting, that the time is now. let me get my tea. Alright, Spirit, give us, let's clarify the Three of Pentacles for the Divine Feminine. Clarify the Three of Pentacles for the Divine Feminine. Had 3 flip over. Alright, so clarifying the Three of Pentacles. Someone was greedy, holding on to their pentacles. For some it's the masculine, for some, and she knows it, and for some it's some of the feminines. Since it's a general read, that's kind of coming across as either or both. The Four of Coins, this is where he's holding on to all his material possessions because he thinks that's who he is, that he's all about his material possessions, and his money represents his strength or represent who he is, instead of being his true self, his authentic self, realizing that it's his soul and personality, who he truly is really what matters, not his material possessions. Because of this, it created a faulty foundation in his life, and this had to come, had to work on this. They had to let it come crumbling down. So probably received a Tower moment regarding this, because greed is not from the divine. So to move forward in this connection, this would have to come to, an end. So the Page of Swords is leaving things behind that no longer serve him, realizing this perhaps, and we have another hawk, if that means something to someone for synchronicity purposes. The bow and arrow as well. So he's flying out of leaving behind the things that no longer serve him, and flying above it. Trying to rise above being that person that he was. Thank you, Spirit. They went into Hangman mode. This is also I need to write this word down every time I try to think of it. Initiation card. Thank you, Spirit. This is the initiation card in this deck. It's also Hangman for traditional tarot. Alright, but he's going within, seeing things from a different perspective. And in this card being the initiation, he's been tested by Spirit. He's being tested through this initiation to see if he's going to pass the test, to turn away if he was given 2 choices, say someone with a lot of money and someone that was broke but true love, and he chooses, which one are you going to choose? That's kind of an initiation, a test of the dedication to this connection, to his sole purpose and his mission. Thank you, Spirit. It is connected to a lover card regarding these two. You have Kundalini arising here, so also through transformation. This is just realizing they're getting perhaps they're realizing in their higher self that this is divinely guided connection, and that the spirits are watching over this to ensure its safety. I'll show you the card. Alright, and this is the truth, as Ace of Swords goes flying through the air, aiming high through the storm clouds to the sun, with truth and a new beginning. Okay, clarify the Two of Swords, Spirit, with the protecting the Divine Feminine is protecting the flame from the karmic, keeping it on solid ground, but setting her boundaries. What else can we add to this card, Spirit? clarify this card for them. What else can you tell me about this card? Eight of Cups, celebration. Start off with the Eight of Cups, and you notice in this there's butterflies and moths, or to me I'm seeing some as moths because the wings are different, but this is the Eight of Cups, and it's been a very emotional. This divine feminine was surrounded by the people in her life that were the dragonflies, beautiful little buzzing, almost like butterflies, right? But then there were a few that were moths in her life, and they eat away at the core of her heart. Almost, they just cause heartbreak with lies and deception. And I see 3 moths here, so it also is indicated to me that perhaps a 3-party situation caused this heartbreak, caused all this emotion to pour out, that even this statue is crying. Alright, and for the masculines during this situation, since there's the 2 flames in there, this was the 5 of Wands. It caused him, hang on, alright, so he's realized, Spirit has shown him, this is the Ebenezer Screws like card. Spirit showed him that the people in his environment that he was perhaps talking to or gossiping, or they, were saying things in his ear, negative about the connection perhaps even, but they were wearing different masks. They were not who they were pretending to be. They were wearing masks, and they had ill intent. I won't say evil intent, but like devil energy. So Spirit's taken him to this to show him that this was the way of his past, and this is the way his friends and people that were gossiping with him are presenting. And so he has seen the, I will say, the error of his ways, for lack of better words. And he was standing in darkness, and Spirit is pulling him out to show him the light of how this old way of being, and helping him transform and have that rebirth as well. So Spirit's given him the transformation, given him the rebirth, and this card reminds me, and I say this every time if you're a repeat watcher, this Emperor has been picked from the earth, it seems, shown this vision here, and then Spirit says, you will be an emperor, and throws him in his throne, and is like, now, be the person you're supposed to be, or face the consequences to the divine, not feminine, but Great Spirit. So we have like blood-like lightning bolts coming down, even on the throne. There's some red, as if it's the lightning bolt itself coming in. But I'll show you his face, and it looks like he's not real happy, but he is now taking the throne of Emperor. And even the way he's slouched down in there, he's like not really happy that he has to step it up, right? Step up his game. So this causes a celebration, though, the 7 of coins. So this is off of earth energy, but in the 7 of coins, this brings growth and rebirth to him. So it's a way of celebrating. And it's filling him then with, after his rebirth, they have had the Ace of Cups filling their own cup with self-love for this ace, but it is a new beginning in love for themselves. realizing that they need to love themselves. They really kind of like themselves now that they've seen the error of their ways and have changed, or are looking forward to making the changes that they need to make. Being confident enough to do so, because they're being grounded, and their solar plexus of courage and strength is strengthening and healing. Emperor card here, Spirit, for the feminine. Empress, I should call it. It's the Page of Wands with communication that has come in. This communication that came in was kind of like the Knight of Wands. It was regarding the Knight of Wands, or her masculine. The communication that came in with this Page of Wands was regarding sexual promiscuousness, passion, but a very dark energy of such. Wearing that the masculine was wearing a mask, many masks on here. He's actually removing one mask and still has another mask underneath. And he has a huge boa constrictor on his neck and one on the rod or wand. So, yes, and that the snake energy, passion, but dark energy of the mask he was wearing was regarding a three-party situation, of course. Rocks were thrown. I did these a lot this past, the last few days we've gotten the same energy off this card regarding the three-party situation, that someone was being someone they weren't. There's a situation around this one particular group anyway, that something stinks in the center of the three-party situation. There's something that stinks about it. I'm not smell per se, but it was, I don't know, sour maybe. But rocks were thrown in the name of, perhaps in the name of spirituality. I don't know. Usually I wouldn't get that far. One was being stubborn, one's being emotional. One was trying to be higher, hold themselves to a higher standard, or pretend to be. Yeah, that's all I'm getting with that. Alright, clarify the 3 of Cups. Which is why she put the boundaries up, right? So even though she may have known about it, she put her boundaries up because of this communication, which then she set when she set her boundaries. The Chariot, this can move forward. Her Chariot wants to move forward. So she set her boundaries up regarding that communication. She must have, this almost looks to me right now like she tossed him out of the Chariot and she's moving forward. And this is like right now her saying, okay, let me know when you, it's almost like, let me know when you've had your rebirth. Ten of Pentacles. So the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, this way, Spirit Son. Alright, so Two of Wands, he's taken a look. This caused him to take a look when she put her boundaries up and she moved forward in her Chariot without him. It made him look in the mirror, and he didn't like who he's seen. And besides that, over here, Spirit took him around, right, and showed him the people he was hanging around, kind of like the Ebenezer Scrooge, however you pronounce that. So he took a look in the mirror and didn't like what he's seen, and he knew he had to make changes. Alright, so he's turning his back to things that were both attacking him, or that he was allowing in his life to attack him, to cause him to be someone else. Then this causing, he's planted, this is an ending and a beginning. He's planted a new seed, a new self. He's made the changes within himself, and to nurture that seed, to watch it come to fruition now, and come out as the King of Cups. He's moving forward slowly and emotionally, because he's had a lot of emotion over this. This cup probably caused a tower moment when she set her boundaries up, most likely, and moved forward, because it would have caused that magnetic pull, right? So he is following the light, holding on to the belief of the connection and moving forward towards her, but going within and healing himself first as well. The rebirth, the death card for rebirth, for the feminine, please. Okay. This is in reverse, but I'm going to show you this way first. Nine of Swords is she felt tied up. Things were, she felt bound to this connection, but like she couldn't move forward with the connection as well. And she's put an end to that with the Death card, because she's had that transformation and that rebirth. What's this? And she's taking the leap forward with the Fool card. Hence, then you get the fish, right? Moving forward. For the feminine. They're fine with their feminine, thank you. She's gone within. She's walking away from devil energy, things that were not of spirit, turning her back to the devil energies, and not allowing those toxic relationships in her life anymore. There's a snake here, the devil, you got them trying to attack from above. So she's turning her back and leaving person, places, or things that don't serve her out of her life. So friends that she realized perhaps that were toxic for her, she's left them behind with this rebirth, so that she has now gained that emotional intelligence of knowing that even if it was friends or family she had to turn her back, not turn her back to, but move away from energetically. Doesn't mean that you're, never speaking to family members again. It just means you're not allowing their energy to affect you. She's gone within in Two of Coins, this Two of Drums, it's earth energy, meditated, healing oneself here, realizing there were weeds in her garden, so to speak, to be weeded out, which we saw there. She's leaving behind things that no longer serve her, person, places, and things. She's realized that seeds were planted in the wrong place, and she's had to rearrange that in her life. Just going to shuffle on my lap for a second. Hang on. Alright, so Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands, please start for the Matthew and the Bible. Excuse me, sorry. Came out of nowhere. So, Knight of Wands, moving forward, King of Coins, and with the Earth, and this is not him per se, but he has had, Spirit has given him this vision of how he was before, how he is now, and how he was supposed to be, what his mission, soul purpose is, and why it's important to get in mission, and why he needs to move, and move now, in the air of his ways. So he's had visions, nightmares regarding this again and again. Synchronicities coming out everywhere. Spirit's been sending the divine masculine many messages. Okay, masculine. The Queen/King of Wands for the masculine side. Okay, for some, this queen represents the, I'll say karmic, or the other person in the masculine's life. Okay, because here he has 3 birds. He's listening to the divine one, of course, telepathically, and here he's listening to a blue bird. So it shows that he's tied to 2 different here. So for some, or someone at least, or a few, this is going to represent the karmic, I'll say. So that Queen of Wands is clarified with this, so this is who she is, more or less, but which is the Devil card came up, okay? The wearing many masks, being in the dark, but more importantly, she's holding these voodoo dolls. This devil is that came up with her is holding voodoo dolls in his hand. So this kept him bound, or bound like he can't move. So if the masculine or the masculine's watching and you felt like you couldn't move, or kind of felt restricted and you don't know why, because someone might be doing voodoo or magic on you, keeping you feeling bound and separate from your counterpart here. For some, they tried to do the magic themselves, if there's a voodoo doll, or if they practice, or some are paying someone to conduct this. They're someone that's more experienced in voodoo or black magic. They're paying someone else, in Spirit said, and I think I got this in either yesterday's or the day before. Yeah, because the money was funneled to a practitioner to conduct the magic. There's a receipt or an invoice in the email for someone, whoever that's for. For others, the devil may just have his hand on you, and you felt like the devil had his grip on you and you couldn't let go. That could perhaps just be because bad, like overindulgence in toxicities or something. Then it might be like feeling like the devil has their hands on you. But in this card you can see the voodoo dolls there. I'll just set this back here. And then we have justice came in regarding her, and the vultures were here to carry away the carcass of the things that no longer serve you, remove the masks, and rid them from the divine connection. Kind of a weird looking justice card. Currently 11:11, and we finished that. Alright, so we're going to clarify the tool monster. The closer you get to union, I think especially around the transformation and the rebirth, there's more like the karmics in their life or other people around. It's almost like the devil energy increases, or the tests that are of an initiation get harder and harder, right? But have faith that you can break through and come out of the cold. The Two of Wands here, where he was tied between the two, but focused on her. And Spirit has given many synchronicities and dreams, messages from Spirit guides regarding this divine connection that Spirit has handed practically on a silver platter to this divine masculine, and they are ignoring it like zombies over here until he gets that rebirth, and he'll have that light bulb moment, perhaps realizing that it's not your imagination, that you're having telepathic communication with someone, that this is the real, this is divine, and you need to move forward with it. Anything else? Changing deck. course, I already shuffled, but I know some people prefer to see it on the shuffle on camera. Clarify 5 of Cups, please. Clarify 5 of Cups. Have the Emperor coming up with emotions there, but taking the stand of the boss, right? For some, it may be your boss. The Star is here to, from Spirit, to remind him, and he knows that she is the star, that she's the light that guides him, the one that he felt energetically, like in his dreams and in the 5D. He knows that she is transformed and sees her glowing from a distance. That same little bluebird is also here in this card. Clarify the Page of Wands for the masculine. Clarify the Page of Wands for the masculine. Okay, so we got 10 of Wands. Putting down the burdens that no longer serve him, regarding this connection, laying down the burdens, surrendering to the Divine Great Spirit. The Wheel of Fortune then turns forward with a new opportunity to close to the old cycle and the opening of that new cycle. And this is also, oops, right below, almost knocked my tea off the table, right below her setting boundaries, which caused that closed out that cycle and start of the new. 4 of Swords, please, sir. 4 of Swords. Four of Wands. She went in and set her boundaries. The spirit guides are all around her, still focusing and protecting that flame. And what he is thinking about is that 4 of Wands, the stability with the Divine Feminine, the light that he thinks about day and night. Clarify the Ace of Pentacles. The King of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, the King of Wands. Communication coming in. He's still holding on to the communication. This is usually rapid communication when the King of Wands is there. Regarding the connection and wants balance to his Empress. 5 of Pentacles, clarify 5 of Pentacles. King of Cups. He's nurturing himself, going within, filling his own cup with love and nourishment through, healing himself and sitting in his throne, being successful and nurturing himself, but knowing from his messages and the higher self, he knows that he needs to move forward. Temperance is here to balance that out, to bring in that new start, that new communication. Ace of Wands clarified by the Ace of Wands. I think that's awesome when that happens. Just clarification. Some of that communication that came in was apologies and discussing back and forth, equal communication between the two parties regarding the things that took place. This is both coming forward with communication equally, so that they're no longer held between a hard place and a rock. It allows divine communication so that they can together communicate about the things that were illuminated in the shadows, the things that were making the partnership, stormy and just causing this moment when you didn't know if those towers were going to fall or if they were going to stand. She set her boundaries with the swords, held her other sword, and turned her back to the karmics and the other women that were involved with the masculine, or men for that matter, it don't matter. 7 pentacles, but so then this communication is also about them building their pentacles and being abundant. Putting the work into the connection as well, I heard. Okay, I'm going to take these two together. So there's a death and a rebirth here. You can see the spirit rising up out, and the little child, like the inner child, is over here waiting for the rebirth. So Spirit's protecting the inner child while they go through this transformation and this testing and the rebirth. And then you connect with your inner child again. I don't know if you can see all of the detail in that card is beautiful, but it's putting an end not only to that rebirth, but it's then putting an end to the 10 of Swords, stabbing the other person in the back or feeling like they were stabbed in the back. All the lies, deceit, the infidelity, what other games that they may have played in the connection, the gossip told. A lot of lies and deceit on this card. Fooling themselves as well as the partner, or deceitful to themselves. Causing an end to the storm, like keeping things over emotional for no reason. Playing games to keep the emotions, almost like they were playing, someone's playing games to cause storms or cause emotions, to see the reaction to manipulation. But there's an end, death to all of that. So the Chariot can move forward together out of the shadows of the night, so that they can have their 10 of Pentacles together. He's turning his back on the karmic, or she, either one. 6 of Wands, forward movement, putting an end to the fighting, the gossip, the battles. Anything else, Spirit? Okay. Anything else, Spirit, for this reading? Anything else for this reading? Anything else? We want the masculines or the feminines to know? No? So the angels. So the angels are with you. Let's see what they have to say. I did shuffle these already. Okay. Angel of emergence. Yes, time for the real you to emerge, and the time is now. A lot of urgency, energy. Angel of communication. Communicate clearly. This one, right? Don't be afraid to tell it like it is. Absolutely. Just speak your truth. Be in truth. Angel of emergency, and do it now. It is time for the real you to emerge. Anything else, Spirit? No? Okay. This one next. We're running out of time, so I'm just going to pick a few. Did you choose money or unconditional love when you had your test, your initiation? So that matches that sentence earlier in the reading. List 10 things you are thankful for. Thank the universe for bringing it to you. Volunteer to help someone, perhaps an animal shelter or a homeless shelter, or a neighbor. They do miss you. So if you're wondering if your counterpart misses you, the answer is yes, they miss you. Hubble Bubble, which reminds us you have nothing to fear and much to be thankful for. Fear is an illusion. I think I got that the other day too. Out of all these. Alright, that is what I have for you today. I'm doing the career and finance next, so pop over to that video. Have a blessed day.